to trust Michael.
Yes, very official now.
I don't have.
Don't you? It was I picked up from Shanna. She had some. I went, well, she can put some. I can actually.
You have some.
Yeah, you just get Joe.
I got it ages ago.
Well, right.
You've been here twice as long as
Share
me.
with the group.
I write my details in a piece of paper.
Yeah.
People.
And they're the same, they're
Yeah.
the universal sort of ones.
Yes. Yeah.
Just see Joe. Oh, okay.
You need it.
Okay, folks, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Sorell Council meeting on the 18th of March 2025. Welcome everybody in the gallery and thank you, councillors. This is on the table. I'd like to start off with the acknowledgement of country. I'd like to begin by paying respect to the traditional and original owners of this land, the Mama people. Pay respect to those that have passed before us, and to acknowledge today's Tasmanian Aboriginal community who are saving Sorell land. Before we move further into the meeting, I would like to also acknowledge the passing of Kerry Grassi, a long-standing active member of this community, councillor and mayor. I'd like to hand over to Councillor Reid to say a few words about that.
Thank you. I'm just going to, in Kerry's honour, read out the statement of Councillor Williams. Remembering Kerry de Grassi. Our community has lost the one of human with the passing of Kerry de Grassi. For decades, Kerry dedicated her life to development, social justice and advocacy, leaving a lasting mark on Sorell and beyond. Kerry played a key role in founding the Victoria Primary School and Constituted House, Sunny Beaches Regional Arts. And she served tirelessly with the Victoria Volunteer Fire Brigade and ambulance service, where her husband George was a floating volunteer ambulance officer until his passing in 2015. Kerry served as a councillor between 1996 and 2022, including in terms of Mayor of Sorell from 1999 to 2000. She worked passionately for child protection, women's rights and community wellbeing. Her impact extended to youth programs, Tasmanian Women's Council and as a founding director of the Legal and Community Advocacy Group. Recognised for her lifelong service, Kerry was inducted into the Tasmanian Honour Roll of Women in 2008. Kerry's final council meeting in October 2022 marked the end of more than 26 years of dedicated service to her beloved community. The legacy will continue to inspire all who live in it. And all at Sorell Council will send our love and thoughts to her children, Janelle, Ben, and their families. Well, Kerry Grassi, thank you for a lifetime of service. A public memorial for Kerry is being hosted by the family on the 29th of March. 1 o'clock at Oakland's Community Garden for those who would like to.
Apologies. Anything? We have apologies from Nathan Reynolds. I believe Carmel intends to come, during it intends to come to the meeting, but we'll do that. Any declarations of pecuniary interest in today's agenda? No. Okay, thank you. So we're on to item 5, confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting. Recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 18th of February be confirmed and really pleased. Councillor Nichols and Councillor Larkins to do. All those in favour? No. Item 6, Mayor's report. Recommendation that the Mayor's communication report be listed, the report as listed be received. I move that Councillor Reid and Councillor Campbell. Thank you for all questions.
I saw that you volunteered for the Disabled Circus Association, just wondering how that went. Looks like a great event.
Yeah, it was really a really positive experience. So many people volunteering, and not just those the 150 that have volunteered for the relief aid as well. Yeah, incredible experience. And thank you to those volunteers who enable those who can't serve on their own to have that experience of listening. It's really, really awesome. I thoroughly recommend it if you would put my hand up to volunteer.
Just a comment there. I just wanted to say well done on your interviews for International Women's Day. And, yeah, good job.
That was a nice experience. And it was nice to hear that sentiment over and over again that we are a big community and nice environment. That was a continuing message, and that was really nice. Positive, very positive.
The Ticket to Wellness program, could you please elaborate, please?
So the ticket to wellness is very similar to the ticket to play, which young people get, so they can participate. It's a voucher, it's a $100 voucher. The ticket to wellness, and I think also for the ticket to play, you can access $200 vouchers, but the ticket to wellness is for over 65, so they can participate not just in sport, but they can access swimming pools or other groups that enable well-being. The Department of Veterans Affairs have a similar wellbeing program, and it's been highlighted that there is a missing gap for those who receive Veterans Affairs pension, but they're not veterans themselves. So, so you can only access the veterans' wellbeing ticket if they are the gold card holders, which are veterans. Yeah. So the spouses of the veterans can't access either the state wellbeing ticket or the Veterans Affairs wellbeing ticket. And that gap has been highlighted and will be fixed before July for the next round of tickets being on.
The meeting with the Southern Unions about local government elections, how did that go, or what was the main outcome?
I think it's an ongoing conversation. They contributed to they gave feedback. And it's a mixed bag. And I think conversations and consultation will continue. There are areas where changes are required. And it's running the elections is very costly the way we do it. But also that is very but looking at different ways of people being able to vote, whether they can vote in person or if they're going to postal vote or but I've got the impression that all these others have been trained yet, but not. So I'm sure. All those who there are no supplementary items. The workshops, council workshops, are listed in item 8. No council questions or motions on notice, so we will move on to the work group reports, item 11, page 5. Recommendation that the work group reports be listed as listed be received. I have been nice to see in there that we're having an increasing number of letters of appreciation or good comments from council. And it's nice that
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, Robert, how did the Straths matters? How's that going?
Through the mayor, it's, on one hand, it's taken a very positive turn in that there's now a new director of the state planning office. Previously, the planning minister, it's been a very good choice. So the government and supported by the acting secretary of the Charm Upstate Great Management especially so there's certainly an focus in the government around the importance of having regional administrators and their role in having facilitated. We've been unfortunate that we've been ignoring that process with more and more things that we invested. But there's certainly an absolute commitment to do as much as they can to get us finalised. Process the minister started about amending the existing stores with the growth minister. So that's been a frustration. That's caused some issues. It's been good. But it's new found. Energy government get involved in this. It's just never taken us.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. A question for Mr. Higgins, please. On page 5, it says here, met with Blue Lagoon engineering consultants and staff about the long-term water, stormwater outflow design. And would you be so kind to give an update on that?
Yeah, through the mayor. So we've been exploring the design practicalities of getting the stormwater, internal stormwater outflow to the north, somewhere near the program. As we've had before, unfortunately, we've come up with some issues with how flat the site is, and also looking at some tide data that where the outflow would potentially be, but it's issues with the need for the drone function, also coincide with a hot tide or a large tidal event that number of people go. So we're determining if there's other alternates, still getting the outflows to the north rather than to the south. Just trying to work out the ways around this. The further we progress with this, the more complex it's becoming as far as just the grade limitations of that area. Managing an appropriate water level in the building, but still allowing it to discharge in high rainfall events. So not having one stream out, would be drawing too much or too long time, we're feeling that the design is such that we need to. So, trying to work out other terms, it's not so hard to solution. So that really detailed survey data done in three-dimensional data, survey data done is marginal. And so we have complications with some sensitivities and everything on the inside. Very, very careful about that.
Thank you.
Robert, your meeting with examining people, was that any information come out or haven't been made public?
Through them, and Mayor's present, Councillor Larkins as well. There's some pieces from Baines, Tasman and Hewitt. For me, no. Yeah, it's like, so we first went over to the proposed site, the new site for Tuna. Self with the area, to the right of the area. We've also had to have some more detail around dimensions of this with a few. So it's, for me, it's really useful to get out there and just so you can understand its proximity to the coastline. And we went down to the Tassel area of Richard, so they're taking the lease that was already established. That was really helpful for me to get an idea of the scale of the things that they have to put in those more active environments. And then we're able to the human sites, human sites over on the western side of the by classes of green, top of green. That's quite a large establishment. But it was useful going well, so it's good to go.
Yeah, it's interesting putting aside and then you went to the Hassan region, and that was really interesting. One of the things is to the technology that you use.
When you go to the labs and technologies and things, something wrong with technologies good.
No.
I filmed in my school.
No, that is
It's such incredible.
yeah, it's product, it's a lot.
How many people do those have the difference?
I don't know
If I may, I don't believe it was asked. It's my question, but I was hanging off the back of the plate for some time, so.
I did join mine.
You'll have to forgive me, I tried my best and then it didn't work. It's getting
It's
skip
like
up.
record on the pound stage.
Yeah.
There's also,
Lots of bobbing about. It was stationary.
And the sun started beating and the next thing you know, it was just cold sweats, yeah.
But the wildlife is amazing.
it's just check that we're, because of the size of the boat, people on these, a lot of them different conversations that we say, either biomass or growers as well, so it might have been information exchange when you do this stuff.
This is a mystery to me because if you Google the Sorell Bureau statistics with serious economic stick insects which don't have any skin on them. They say that 17 and they listed as being well down in employment practices, most of them stuff. And salmon is a long way down, and it's after the number of people who work on harvest.
Well, we should have maybe asked that question when we were on the boat, and next time we have the opportunity to ask the question, if you like.
I've asked it.
Are there any other?
Through the name, it's really see on the details on page 19 of our contributions to council resources from land sales and open space contributions, stormwater headwork, etc. And then the even the breakdown by district. What is it, the budget process or some other process that will use to determine how to allocate those?
And should, I should point out, the new identifies top of page and that's why it's like where the outset, we say contributions received from 2015 and to yeah. To answer the question, yeah, it's the forward program doing upgrade projects, and that is identified with those funds, particular projects. So it's generally a budget exercise. What projects last time we go through. And generally projects are
Thank you. So that, the report of that style will continue on time, with obviously more detail of the expenditure, is that the intention?
yeah, the message we think we're going to do it every 6 months, but it's like 4 months every 6 months. So because it's not, it doesn't significantly change. Yeah, but obviously, as the funds go out to projects, it'll be reflected in the
Thank you.
Thank you. On page 30, sorry, environmental health, page 35, 37, it's mentioned about criminal science, and we just had an update about the issues with the seepage running into the beach, and I was wondering, yes, we've had some members of the community asking, and I was wondering if maybe Mr. Higgins could give us an overview of how this is going to be handled with informing the community.
It's something we've been discussing internally. I've sent some advice to Stacey this morning around that, because it's to do more detailed investigations of particular sites as potential sources is fairly resource intensive. So we have that separate project going now with the Southern Beaches stormwater investigation, and we'll agree with the manager to determining if there's a way you can utilise those expert consultants as well with that, with this issue. So, but there's going to be budget implication with that. I don't know to what extent that's significant, but agrees away now till the end of April, so we're going to continue to monitor it, but as far as a longer term solution or trying to determine exactly where the source is coming from, we've got to sort out exactly how much. lot of updates to space spending around. And inquiry had so we just can't be too dependent around a long-term approach. Squared away the scopes exactly what there was potentially be a very large investigation. Where it's coming from.
So I'm understanding this is not part of the grant that has the stormwater work for the southern beaches. So this doesn't fall within that. That'll be great, but it's not. Yeah.
The consultant engaged with that. Sort of considered very highly by bringing up some of the industry and experts in the field. So in terms of having a piece of input out, I suppose, try and help us. We're looking at if we can incorporate that to work with us.
Okay. It's good to know that the investigation is ongoing and
Oh,
trying to figure out. Yeah. Okay. And that will be some budget allocation for that.
We've got to work out what it needs to be and pursue it or not.
Okay. Thank you. If I may, there's another more comment and a quick question. On page 39, there's compliance golf and beaches, and I would like to mention and comment positively on the education, the activities that the golf team is currently doing. And I also would like to ask how this is being seen in the long term, because here it's like golf on beaches, and it used to be seen as a summer thing, but it just become an ongoing throughout the year. So I'm just wondering, what are the thoughts maybe from Mr. Higgins?
To the mayor, we've three of us have been discussing with the staff. It hasn't been, it hasn't been a great experience for them. We've had to deal with a lot of abuse and threats and involving police. It's been a pretty ordinary display across the members of the public. Very awkward. So we're trying to manage that exposure to staff, and female staff. Quite disturbing, really, how people behave. And our staff are obviously unarmed. And just have to try and diffuse that situation as best they can. It's taking a toll on them. So I think at the moment they're quite content that the summer 10,000, sorry, the restriction will be reduced with the change in the seasons and some of the features. But we need to have a discussion with them around like the off-season control, just in space. Absolutely space. So, I wouldn't say they're pretty testing about ongoing, they'll do it, and they're very dedicated, want to get a good result. But with a GD players on the court, it's not like you do. It's just
So it sounds like there's need for people to understand or educate and understand better.
So
So
that's, the people who perpetrate this behaviour have no interest in you. It's fortunate and minority that they have huge impact on other people's enjoyment, staff safety. So we try to police as best we can, but yeah, it's been an ongoing concern for us, which has been exacerbated this last couple of months.
well, maybe we can like to bring this up maybe in a workshop so that we can understand this better and see how we can support our staff and find solutions. Yep. Thank you.
Through there, just on page 42, I know took some delight in reading that the Red Oak Beach access preliminary designs have commenced with local representatives, so I was very pleased to read that. And then on page 44, the remedial works at the South East Stadium and subsequent tracking of revenue loss. Is there some capacity claiming losses through insurance, or is that being investigated? Yeah.
It's two processes of the possible income or yes, the check the fault. It's quite a whole additional process. So, yes. Deal with the situation.
Sure. Thank you.
And along those lines, on page 41, the training for Southeast Sports Complex, additional work required upstream pipe show signs in and around,
I believe that's the trying to reduce range change from like in the senior over it's so connected but not lost after
can you take those reports out rather than you know, very so item 12, position is still being action. We've spoken about still being, that we was going to change the
slightly last paragraph.
No petitions received, moving on to item 14. Mayor advised in accordance with the provisions of Part 2 Regulation 25 of the local government meeting procedures regulations 2015, the intention of the council to act as the planning authority pursuant to the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993, which has been opened. In accordance with regulation 25, the council acts as the planning authority with respect to both matters appearing under item 14 on this agenda, inclusive of any supplementary items. So 14.1, the Sorell Planning Authority minutes. Recommendation that the minutes of the Sorell Planning Authority SPA meeting held on the 18th of February 2025 be noted. Can I have someone to move that, please? Councillor Larkins and Councillor Reid. Thank you. Any comments on this? No. All those in favour of the recommendation? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 15, page 50, 15.1, government. The proposed disposal of public land, part of 47 Cole Street, Sorell. The recommendation is there before you. Would you like me to read the recommendation? Someone to move that recommendation, please. Councillor Larkins. Councillor Woolley, thank you. Seconded. Open the floor for discussion, or would the General Manager like to?
Happy to provide some background to it, thank you, Mayor. So this is the necessary first step statutory process to enable council to be in a position to consider how to deal with the land in the future. So it doesn't
tie council to any future decisions or obligations. It's just because it's public land, we need to go through this process first to public notification of the intent, option for submissions to come in, to consider submissions and reconsider the matter. It's come about, it's the vacant parcel of land document set us here. And it's been on, I mean, we see through the report, it's been in general consideration for some time, but we haven't specifically dealt with that parcel as it now sits. Only once before we dealt with it when it was a much larger land area. But the trigger for it to come up now is around the commitments we have from both the major parties around an urgent care clinic and just, I guess, ensuring council's in a position so that similar to the Service Australia facility, when that was done through the federal government, that we indicated an intention to assist with that process and potentially to provide the facility only in the event that the private sector wasn't able to. So similar with this, we haven't got many firm details from either party about how they would do this. There's the urgent care clinic, the methodology around it, the funding. But at this stage, we would say that it's more likely they'll be looking to utilise an existing facility, which would obviously require a public EOI process, similar to what they did to set up the Service Australia facility. So that may resolve it, but I just thought it's prudent that we at least have the first statutory step out of the way to enable us to then consider, well, do we want to enter into this arrangement? Are we able to? Do we sell it? Do we do it ourselves? It's just the first step to be able to get into those sort of discussions. It's no commitment or lock-in beyond that.
Councillor Campbell.
Thank you. So just on that, Robert, so if a private party came along and they were going to build the urgent care there, then we could sell it to them, have them. Is that like starting the process, whether we do it or someone else comes in and do it?
But through the chair, councillor, that's well down the track.
Yeah.
So this
This is the starting process.
This is just, we can't even have that discussion unless we've done
this
the
part.
state notification around, we have some public land. The Act is very clear around, if a council wants to long-term lease or sell or dispose of, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You have to go through this notification process first before you can even think about what they may wish to do. And again, I'm very mindful of council not competing with the private sector, so this would be similar to the Service Australia matter, as I said, effectively be the last resort if the project has to proceed and there's no other party willing or able to do it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Further to around long-term lease, this process will be necessary for to retain the land. Council ownership, public ownership long-term, but it will be tied up in registry.
So through the mayor, under the Act, without that process. So that applies to a lot of our public land leases, movement facilities, private facilities, something like this will private sector provide.
Thank you. I had a question, but already the questions I've answered, so yes, thank you. It was about retaining the land and being able to meet with it instead of disposing to ensure that the land remains public. But yeah, that's already. Thank you.
Since this area was subdivided, 100 years ago now, design using the community precinct nature of the area and its strength. Does the zoning of the land, for example, which rezoning communities for the whole community precinct, is that a factor that when will you take that into account?
For me, I think certainly for the economic development, designing is a huge factor. Community purpose or business. But for that side, I suspect we're looking at another that sort of community facility from some private role that likely will be
Sure, thank you. All those in favour of the recommendation, please show hands. On page 59, item 17, community relations, 17.1, community grants program. Recommendation that the council resolve to approve the grant application for Oaklands Community Grants under the 24-2025 Community Grant Program as per the following report. Councillor Larkin, Councillor Shandon. Any comments on this? No. All those in favour of accepting the recommendation, please. Unanimous. Item 18.1. 2024-2025 capital budget adjustments. Recommendation that the council resolve pursuant to section 82 of the Local Government Act 1993 to accept and adopt the following adjustments. The 2024-2025 capital budget. Councillor Reid and Councillor Nicholas.
It's not so much that we're saying it's only the sort of construction market to be very nice to us. It's more that there's a progress that we're so
Not sure, don't get it. Thank you for clarifying that.
All those in favour of the recommendation? No. No. 18.2, executive summary financial report for Green recommendation with executive summary financial reporting February 2025 year to date we received and notified. Councillor Crannis and Councillor Larkin. Comment or question?
Thank you. I would, once again, thank the finance team for the detailed way that they presented the reports, activity reports, and also to take the opportunity to wish the police agree that the report is very
those in favour of accepting the recommendations? Unanimous, thank you very much. We move on to page 99, item 22, which are questions from the public. We've had a couple of questions, or 3 questions on notice. The question is there in print with the general manager's report. And I'd now like to open the,
Thank you. I have a question about a question on notice, if I may. So, page 99, 22.1, the question from Mrs. Jenny Dutton. So in that question, Mr. Keegan's general manager has provided a response. And I would like to ask again, Mr. Higgins, how we can provide the community with ongoing information about the actions that council is taking in terms of the fish farm motion that was adopted, or the recommendation that was adopted previously. And so, Mr. Higgins, if you would like to provide a comment or a solution to that.
Yeah, through the minutes, Jess mentioned prior to the meeting starting, we can incorporate details in the officer reports to the group reports, so council. There's a section there where we have so from Stacey, our community relations manager, so 11.3 in the agenda, there's summary section of community consultation and engagement activities by council, and that's really details of what's been happening, so all can see it. And I'll separately provide that copy of that. So in any way, it's not a top secret document. It's trying to limit our points out to improve what we're doing with clients as well at this stage. Entertain, it's been a fairly simple and easy process with who I take the point as far as it's on the record. Others can see what's happening as well. So, comment on that. We've had some inquiries back from some of the members that's gone to some acknowledgements. So we've had a couple of ways. We've had knowledge back from just using surnames, I'm trying to see the route from Badger, Damien, Billick, White, McKinnon to Howard, some of the riders have spoken. We've had requests to set up meetings with Badger, Damien, and McKinnon. There's been meetings that have occurred anyway with the mayor and suddenly to really Howard, and not necessarily to others, but starting to get responses back and taken to get the time. It's the group, collective group, lots of their own engagement in advocacy, so I have undertaken that we have something like here. Politician or candidate, just let them know their courtesy, so they may be my life as well. Communication between council and the time has been
Thank you for that. I think these questions on notice are a really good opportunity to highlight that there is a need for providing ongoing information about this, and so I appreciate that that's going to be included. Thank you so much.
Right. I'd like to stand and state your name and where you're from. We'll start with Sharon.
Sharon Following Fawcett. Could I just ask a quick question? This urgent care clinic, is this a definite, no matter who gets in? Because approximately 10 years ago, and Councillor Terry's probably memorised with Mr Higgins, that we were told we were going to get a similar clinic-like thing. Super clinic, that was it, and they procrastinated, whoever got in for about 6 years, and then we were told we weren't getting it. So how definite is this?
Well, Rebecca White gave into the timeline. She said it would be open really soon, as in next year. Possibly looking ideally open by mid next year. There has been no timeline for as yet. We haven't had the finer details. So we will be asking next opportunity where the details are of the timeline and how when to when we get that opportunity.
So it is virtually definite between that we are going to get something.
Yes.
It's good to know. I also noticed that you had a meeting with the acting general manager of state roads, and the Arthur Highway was discussed. Could you tell me what that concerned?
Through the mayor, that was only yesterday. And I had a follow-up meeting just this afternoon with the Deputy Secretary of the Roads Division of State Road. So there's a number of matters we're trying to pursue progress with State Road around the bypass, the ponds, causeways, and the Upper Highway. The end of the section of the Upper Highway. I mean, that's the whole section of the Upper Highway. The Upper Highway, particularly the corridor strategy that they did a year or so ago, I'm sure it would be released to the public. They were very happy that the existing $50 million allocation has been supplemented with additional $200 million for the paper. Makes it a lot easier to commit some of the works that are proposed for high priority promenades on the highway, whether it's Sorell or the Tasman Council. So it was a positive meeting in that the strategy done, soon released with more funding available to start that project. Otherwise, it's the project list about a hanging year on there. The top 5 priorities provides a lot more likely scenario in the country. So I don't know the specifics, I can't remember. I've been told that some of the priorities are I'll wait for the strategy.
Also, you had a meeting with Senator Tanturo. Can you tell me what that concerns, please?
It was a general conversation about the area, proposed growth in the area as well, in terms of public housing, or housing in general, and what we were short of, what were the immediate needs going forward into that growth period. What did we have? What was obviously missing in terms of infrastructure and services. And there was a pledge from her that after the election she would spend more time in the area and get to know the area better, it was a get to know her focus was around people's well-being and economic well-being as well. Was the housing affordable? Did they have affordable transport? And that was Danny, well.
First one is just on the
much of it for the children that got back on the school grade for something contact from council regarding school. A suggestion to consider is Midway Point. At the roundabout heading towards Sorell on the left, there is a bus stop here now. And the other house will have to sit on the bus. Whether we will have it for that service council. And then probably move the transport slack, so benefits. Leave that.
Yeah, through me, I've spoken to the project manager, overseas just for a short period of time, but we were looking at some potential sites, fields, I should say, down some of the beaches. We're liaising with the main bus around their preference for the sites as well. So it's a style of shelter that's road provided more suited to the rural areas than trying to. We have some projects coming up with shelter upgrades, lodges, metro service stops there in the shopping, the parking guide, and we're trying to improve the kids in those areas. So we get the parking particular type of smoke shelters and what we've done in the past. So it's a case of getting that greater shelter in a private location where it's needed as well. So it's suspecting it's back in a week's time or so. There's 2 spots now on Gulf Beach, so no one works to drive from the over to Gulf Beach Road.
And the second one was on the note that on this report that's on that right budget notes. Suggesting that given July and the workshop in November, presentation is put together, progress.
Yeah, through the minutes, I'll send you an email this week about where we landed with that deliberation and what's and that's going to get that report. So, yeah.
But it wasn't this
Through there, starting with the budget process in earnest next month. In March, end of this month, going through the way, so one of that takes already.
Right, Bob Brady, what I'd like to ask council is, I think it's the infrastructure money that's been spent in Dunelma since the bushfires, and what infrastructure has been put in place in Dunelma by council since the bushfires with relation to building on the municipal park and the Bremer Bay Terminal to our base streets.
In terms of Chestnut, there, Bob, we could do a summary of. We've had a little bit of time to get information into some years ago now. So the projects that were funded through the bushfire recovery money, we could establish those that occurred. There were some that were funded through insurance, like the whole rebuilding, transports, etc. And the projects that were done, where the couple of elements and embellishments with that, but the potential new path coming into the valley, Boom Road or Drive Lane in that vicinity, through to Inmate Street, where we'll use that for capital program. as a gravel path, and then we've got additional concrete paths within Alley proper that will take concrete path through to Queensland Fulham Road, and quarter to Jelly Green Street, plus an additional new path under the road, because the golf club, they keep right through. But at this stage, we're not for proposing to start them for at least a couple of years. But we've got the budget provision for to happen. Where footpaths are built on state road or highway reserves, the obligation then sits with council to maintain the verges in perpetuity, whether it's 1.5 or 2. So that's just a matter of council to consider in the future. But we're reviewing that forward program as part of the budget process for the coming up. To the order that certain projects might be done. But we've also had some dealings with some state representatives that your efforts with those as well. So we'll make the allocation to do it. It's just when there's a change in scope, as I said, the gravel section where the roads in line with concrete. But also the additional cost of that. That's a section of gravel that's gravel. But we're waiting to hear. We've had some informal discussions with some existing politicians, state politicians around the petition we've done, and they've just been asking us what we know about the situation, what we have allocated for it or not, but we haven't had any formal from them. So this has been a discussion with Jane Howard and no, it wasn't Jim. No, it wasn't West Side Dog. I think it was later. It wasn't Jim, but
Yeah, no, well, I was asking what council money was spent, not what money that was funded or raised through the public records.
Yeah, we can determine what we've spent in Dunalley with council funds, but I think from memory, we suspect the majority of all footpath projects post bushfire would have been through the bushfire recovery fund.
More than that, it's 10 years. So you never got satisfactory answers from the previous year. And no more, it's needed to do it, and it's not a very safe road at all. So, and the big pipes that pedestrians are like is the way to go.
We haven't done any design, the concept has just been very basic. Spread meter rate type, put into that for program just to determine if we can afford it or not, and when we're in a position to do it.
The petition would ask government funding for council and assistance with providing
Well, it will be mentioned that every opportunity from now onwards, the state are aware of it. Whenever I have the opportunity to get your message across and reinforce the need, I'll do that. We'll see what happens.
First at 32. Just want to know, is there a current update on the strip plan as to question one? The other is information regarding the lowering of trees at the road, like two-story house? Is there any update on that? So I'll wait for the answers to those before I ask the next question.
Pretty good answer that I might just not.
No update, I mean, oh, well, I'll come next time. I do apologise for not being here last time, but I got the same questions. The next question is the Sorell Council interested in promoting the history of Sorell and surroundings? Given that this is the anniversary of, what's his name, Matthew Brady and his attack on the town, I know that the history group, is interested in doing something as the council involved there. The thing that bothers me is history is here, we can't change it. And I've heard that people don't like the idea of promoting bush rangers and convicts. I'm sure most of us here have lost a couple, if not one, convict in the family that I've got through. And I know many years ago when I was growing up, about 7 years ago, people didn't talk about their convict relatives, but now we do. So I want to know what the council's going to do about it. Thank you very much.
I don't believe we've been approached by the
Historical group. I know they're going to do something.
to
But I'm not sure. I'll find out on Thursday.
I certainly haven't been approached by them. As far as the history is around, up to and beyond 200 years ago, and that's now, and we should celebrate and recognise
You have connections to old sites. Yeah, Gatehouse Silas, you know that there something called Ardennes property. So there you are, you have a vested interest to do something.
Yeah. Well, we are a special place, and we have lots of special places within our home. So, I said when I became councillor, we need to value our history and how we recognise our history, good and bad. As you say, it happens, you can't change it.
That's why you need to
recognise and acknowledge. That's how I personally did that.
Well, one of my mothers sort of raided the regions many years ago. I think they stole them roads, I don't know whether they were not with them, but we ended up
Do you ladies vote?
so we both related to Harry's. I'd rather that than be in that case and the levies right in so there you go.
It won't be done in my hand, do we have any more questions from the others?
We have a question on notice.
Yes. Do you have a copy of the agenda there?
I don't, but I have to copy the question. Because I meant to read it out again.
The question you submitted.
Question on notice I submitted a while ago.
It has,
Nicole Jackson's rubbish there.
it has here the response.
Yeah.
Did you read
Thank
it?
you for the response, I did read it. I had a few questions though for that response, if that's okay. Thank you, Robert, for your response. You talk about how the Sorell Council co-manages the cropping site. I did ask though how many tonnes of salmon have been disposed of in this last month, and couldn't find any tonnage notes in your reply. If 5 tonnes is 1 million dead salmon, and if the Covington has a weighbridge and they must be released the data, are you able to give me that data?
I'll have to check with, so we're an owner of the site, we own the business, so Southernwest Solutions is the business that runs the site in Utah. I can advise that there's no limitation with their license with EPA on how many tonnes of fish waste of that sort of material can be accommodated. And I know that with this event down the channel, the two growers, and that's how I'm feeling at the range is in place to where they dispose of the north,
Into the cognitive and elsewhere?
Well, it's where that's the last option that they use also, and Tassal has a very good facility at Tribunna, not across where you do have other arrangements in place. So, we do get some of it, but it's only after they've either exhausted their existing options or the capacities beyond what those options are. So I can make inquiries of
But
Sunlight
signage,
Solutions CR around with the despite customers coming to the site. So disclose them all, if it's like no idea, I'll take a notice.
but you did say in your response that there's a weighbridge and monthly figures are released to NRE. Are you privileged to those figures?
As an owner, site owner, council, you get those figures, but they're publicly accessible or publicly public, I'll have to find out where this is.
Okay, thank you for that. Do you know about the farms? Do they receive payment? If there are 2 farms at Wattle Field with a pro license to receive 100 tonnes, which is many millions. Are they giving money for that?
Yeah, I don't take it on those, I don't know. Well, the arrangements between the growers and those landowners across, I need to wait for the grid lots and come back to leave. And our role in that is just the licensing and monitoring, but what commercial arrangements are.
Well, that's the trial side. So you can get back into those.
And if the morph trucks are running at night, does that mean the cognitive is open at night?
No, I don't believe it is. It's start by some of my solutions, so if they like, I've checked with the CEO, but I expect it's only open use, you've got customers with staff presence management, so.
So the night trucks are taking the fish to farms?
I don't know about the night trucks.
Thank you very much.
Through there, if there was an urgent need to dispose out of house, it still would be a customer with staff and no way it's an unattended site.
Right. Or that you're having to pay staff after that.
Well,
To
if
let it
it needs to be open,
Yeah.
the staff, have to be there.
Okay, thank you for that. I've got one more question regarding the visit to the feedlots, fish feedlots just recently. Did they give you any underwater footage of the waste and the algae and the sludge that's underneath everything?
No,
There was, in the food room, there were cameras below water cameras. I don't remember seeing a seabed on it.
If I may, through the mayor, the cameras that we saw were for the purpose of monitoring fish activity and feed. And so the artificial intelligence simply monitors activity and feed drops for them to be able to activate that system. It doesn't necessarily look down, to my knowledge. It may have
You
been.
could see the bottom of the pan was clean, but you
Once
couldn't
they pump
see
it
sorry?
Once they've pumped the testing out.
No, we didn't see pens with dead fish. These were live feeding scale pens, and it was their manual feeding operation.
Right, this has been a discrepancy lately, that the workers haven't been able to keep up with the amount of dead fish.
Well, they wouldn't be feeding those fish. So in the feed rooms, they have an individual, and there was probably about dozen and a half people in there with several monitors around them, and they were monitoring fish activity and fish behaviour, and they are aware and have enough data to identify when the fish are hungry. So they feed as per fish activity and fish demand. They also have the ability to pick up loose, pick up on the screen, loose material as in food that
food pellets that are being consumed by the fish. So when that occurs, they slow or stop feeding. It literally is a individualist clicking to feed. So we didn't see any empty pens because they're obviously not empty pens are not being fed. No food distribution, and there also wouldn't be feeding in when they were sucking the fish out.
So you didn't see any, they didn't show you any of the results of the waste ice sludge, the hit ice
No.
sludge, the mountain sludge.
Yeah, we saw
The dead,
operations.
the dead zones under the marine, the damage to the marine bed.
Well, it's our understanding that that area is monitored by monitored the underneath.
So if they didn't take baseline data forward.
I
And I wanted to finish on a nice note and say thank you very much for the at Flora Park office today, at our Ruby Flora Park. 3 council workers came along, Dan, Sorell, and Stacey. Dan, Monique and Stacey actually. And they did a beautiful job on our habitat enrichment zone where they chopped up a dead tree for us. Beautiful job. It was hollow on the inside and split in half. So 2 weeks ago, Sorell and Monique cut the dead tree into pieces that we could move, not small enough that people could steal it to roll it. And we moved them all over and have created about 20 beautiful nest hollows on the ground, which is an incredible habitat enrichment. It's an incredible improvement for that degraded area. And today, the 3 of them came along and helped us with a mountain of quick repair safely. Quick repair is very damaging to the workers because they can get the fines into their joints and get reactive arthritis. So they helped us safely remove it from the top of branches over there. And we're very grateful. So thank you.
Hi.
Yeah, Peter Blackwell from Carlton. I've come along with the request of Jennifer Tane and Jenny Dudley. They both apologise for not being able to attend due to personal commitments. And I wish to thank you and acknowledge your replies to their questions on those. I believe they had asked for copies of council correspondence to the various people that we thought that council has requested meetings with. And someone asked if it's possible that copies of that correspondence.
I've provided by email a copy of the correspondence and do it with to Jennifer Tane. I've got a hard copy for Jennifer as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much for the question.
We're Kathy Lewichy from OSANS. I've got a couple of questions. The first one is about the actual from OSANS Beach. It's sort of been now on creeping up to 3 months. And I suppose I heard that the company inspectors now on holidays, not that actually paid for. So the question I've got is that I know you've got to look at it holistically because you've got to get to the problem and it needs to be complete. It can't just be a quick fix. But the thing is, I suppose the question is, what is actually being done about the obvious issue that it's actually, everyone in the area can see it travelling to the beach on a regular basis. We've got water flowing all the time through a gully that goes down to the road and down onto the beach. I mean, I suppose if there's small areas that are identified as causing the problem, can we address those ones now and then continue to work on the other issues that are happening? Because as you mentioned, there are quite a lot of sites and there's probably a lot of seepage. It seems like there's or it seems to be on the surface that water is running continuously from an area even when it's not raining. So I'm not or anything like that, but to me, surely it must be that people are using more than their tanks, some use their septic, and it's coming as an offer, this is great, which is, which is like a breakdown in training.
Yeah, I do check, so Greg's the manager of health compliance, and I know that they have done some specific testing of certain areas that look susceptible, and I need to check this with the staff that's still here, but I don't believe the results indicated that was the source. So it's the complication around, given the geology there and how many houses are sitting above that area, the checks some obvious sites that visually look like they might be contributing and haven't got results that look like that. So it's a bit of a needle in a haystack situation. And we see here the question for the public around, well, A, you should be doing more and doing more quickly, but also people need to upgrade their wastewater system to make the one easy able to do so. So it's a potentially complicated issue to get A to determine exactly the source of payment and how to resolve it. I do know that we've done some specific testing, so obviously there is appreciate the results that
Have you done dry testing of that?
I don't know about that.
The reason it's not mentioned there is that the bridge hasn't been on to be quite a new thing, but the meaning of that is you actually got the bids through the makeup. This would be more with reinforcing the edge to the closing area. They've actually been locked out of using that as well. The other question I have is during Air Services Australia. So I wasn't at the February meeting, but the January meeting, we were requesting that if someone could contact them and find out some information about what their plan was, that had community engagement. We've contacted Catherine King, the minister. We've also contacted local politicians. They seem to have indicated in their message that the outcome will be coming quite quickly in the new year, which is 2025. We've also been to a council meeting that the services generally has now mentioned probably mid-January, mid-June, which is the middle of the year. And I just wondered whether the council had actually got any feedback from or had they contacted their service and got any reply.
It's really, I did make contact with them, got a similar response in that they're estimating sometime in Q2, second quarter, maybe April through to still the common users still work through the feedback and assessment, so that's the same response that
I think it's doing that for them. And the other thing, probably is a follow on to this meeting here. I'm just wondering when things like issues being transported and done, is the council notified of that sort of thing before it's not been?
no, it's a product, a waste product that is within the license conditions of that site to accept. In response to the question I asked, provide some comment or Google on site that it's not in right now. It's taken, it's used by the site, includes the license condition. It's the final step in the waste disposal chain that you want to use. It's out of great facilities. The last location.
I suppose the follow-on question to that was that I kind of did do research and I noticed that it does take attacking a lot of composers place in the issue of being uses and this wholly as was involved, you know, that it was a warning of there was something that may be considered quite dangerous. So I think that.
No, yes, so the council is very nice. So I would say my skills to we are.
Thank you. Can I ask another question about that? You bring in new rules in July, I think, photo or something, that no organic materials go to cotton tip. Is this going to change the situation with the disposal of fish buckets, or is that going to continue?
You'd be able to take that seriously.
But didn't you tell residents that they couldn't put any organic matter into bins, that we'd be fined or something if we put organic matter in, it wasn't to go to the tip?
I don't think, I don't recall any mention of fines. It was, the aim of FOGO is to divert items from landfill. So FOGO and the current green bins are compostable materials, so they don't go into the landfill. They are redirected and utilised in other ways. When FOGO does step in, we will have to monitor the contaminants, so the non-compostable material that goes into the composting and FOGO.
So you're going to monitor that, but you're not going to monitor the fish, is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, that's monitored, and that the fish won't, as far as I'm aware, go into the FOGO system, but the fish will still be dealt with in the appropriate area, and then it will be deposited, like Robert said, as a last resort in the landfill, but it's not going on the face of the landfill, it's going in individual trenches within the bee cell, which is sealed at the bottom. So any liquid or leachate that falls through the tip is monitored for any contaminants and captured. So it doesn't go into the water courses or into the groundwater in any way, shape or form. So that you shouldn't confuse the malts with the FOGO. They're different things. But if you have some fish at home for tea of any sort, you in the future will be able to push some of the FOGO in and it will be processed and produce, say, compost at the end of the process. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. They're two different things.
I've got another short question just on that, about the trucks carrying dead salmon. So if they're a biohazard and all the liquid that comes from them is a biohazard, does that mean all the trucks don't leak? This is a lot of trucks and a lot of fish. Does that mean the blood and the liquids are not leaking out of those trucks at any point along the road, into creeks? How do we know that the trucks are sealed? If the material that we're not, material on the beaches, we're not even supposed to touch because it's now a biohazard. Is it leaking along the roads, into our waterways, into our creeks before it gets to coffee? As a short question. I had one other small question about your visit to the fish feedlots. Did the fish feedlot managers mention to you, you were there looking at the feed stock, the feed, did they mention to you why they are still applying the subsequent pesticide into the food?
No.
Which is an off-license application of the pesticide used to stop the catching fire in storage. Did they mention? Right. Thank you very much.
It's stupid to ask if all these dead fish could be turned into fertilizer. I don't know whether you know, fish and bones, yes. I just don't know, I mean, I like fish, I don't catch them myself. But I mean, it seems to me there are tons and tons of dead fish that I haven't seen, so I just wonder if they could be made, productive and turned into some sort of fertilizer that could be sold.
I think there are uses for, smolts. I'm not sure whether these current fish that are infected with this bacteria are being dealt with like that. I don't know whether they're being redirected or whether they are. Some are going probably to the rendering plant to be rendered, but I don't know if they will end up in the kind of like I don't know. Any further questions? Okay, well, I will bring the general council meeting to a close, and the council will go into the closed meeting. Thank you.
I belong to the art group, I'm practicing my dance of the 70 veils. I've only got a few of these. So if you'd like to come along on Tuesday night and poem on, as I said, my dance